Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the world of virtual choir. Specifically, we're zoning in on the Aurora Choir VST from Aria Sounds.
Yeah, and it's got a bit of a spotlight on it right now because it's featured over on audio plugin deals.
Exactly. So if you're maybe a composer or a producer, anyone really looking to get those, realistic vocal sounds without all the usual sampling headaches.
Then this is probably for you. We're
Yeah.
going to unpack what makes this thing tick and how it might actually make your life easier.
We've done the digging, looked at the Aria Sound site, watched a YouTube overview, and checked out the audio plugin deals page, of course.
Got all the angles covered.
Yeah, trying to give you the full picture. And we really want to focus on the key stuff, especially the fact that this version runs all by itself. No contact needed.
That's a huge selling point for many.
Yeah,
So maybe start with the deal itself over at audio plugin deals,
good idea. So right now, the price is $89.
which is down from, I think the original is $149.
That's right. So what's that, like a 41% saving? Pretty substantial.
Definitely makes it more accessible, doesn't it? Getting that kind of quality choir sound for under $100 is, well, pretty compelling.
For sure. But it's not forever. The deal page says it ends in about 13 days from now.
Right, so there's a clock ticking. You need to keep that in mind if you're interested.
And it seems like this price is specifically for this standalone VST version they've released.
Exactly. Aria Sounds has other versions. Some do use contact, but this deal highlights the one that, works independently, which leads us right into maybe the biggest advantage.
No contact required.
Bingo. It just runs as its own plugin. Mac,
Yeah.
PC, drops right into your DAW.
So what's the practical upside there? Less hassle.
Yeah, less hassle is a good way to put it. You don't need that extra layer of software. You don't need to own Contact or Contact Player. It just, it works. Makes it simpler, maybe faster to get going.
More accessible, too, I guess, if you don't already have contact.
For sure. And format-wise, it supports AU and VST3. So it covers, most of the big DIWs like Logic, Cubase, Ableton Live, Studio One.
Okay, but there's a catch, right?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
A pretty important one for some folks. This standalone version doesn't work with Pro Tools.
No AAX support.
No AAX.
Yeah.
It's clearly stated, so if you're a Pro Tools user, this specific standalone VST deal isn't the one for you. You'd need to look at their contact versions, presumably.
Okay, vital info. So beyond the convenience factor, let's talk sound. That's what really matters.
Absolutely. And the descriptions are pretty glowing. Stunningly realistic performances, textured polyphonic voicing. That's from the YouTube video.
And the Aria sound site talks about an elegant sound and seamless performance. Sounds impressive on paper.
It does. And a lot of that seems to hinge on their use of true legato.
Right, true legato. Break that down for us. What does that really mean in practice?
Well, basically, instead of the software trying to digitally smooth the jump between two sum notes, they actually recorded the singers performing that transition.
Ah, so it captures the actual slide or connection.
Exactly, that little natural glide you get with a real voice.
Hmm.
Aurora Choir has this for 5 main vowel sounds. Ah, I, O, N.
Okay.
And for the altos, they even added a bonus M sound, like a hummed connection.
Oh, nice touch.
Yeah, and get this, they recorded these transitions at 2 different dynamic levels. So depending on how you count it, you get maybe 8 or 10 different legato variations, combining the vowels and the intensity.
So it sounds more expressive, more real, depending on how hard you sort of trigger the note.
Precisely. It adds that layer of nuance that often gets lost in sample libraries. That M for the altos is a good example of them thinking about those subtle details.
That sounds great for smooth, connected lines.
Yeah.
But what about, actual words or rhythmic phrases?
Right. It's not just long notes. That's where the what they call the dynamic phrase builder or syllable sequencer comes in.
Okay, what does that do?
It's pretty clever, actually. You get this interface where you can sequence short syllables. There are 24 different ones recorded.
Like blah, die, bah, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly like that. And each of those 24 syllables was recorded at 3 different dynamic levels.
Oh, wow. So that gives you 72 variations for short notes.
Got it. 72 little building blocks. You arrange these syllables in the sequencer, and the choir sings them back. It lets you create these really intricate sort of rhythmic or phonetic phrases in real time.
Sounds much easier than trying to chop up audio samples.
Way easier. And there's even a key switch you can hit to reset the phrase instantly, which is great for live playing or just adding variety. It's a really intuitive way to get beyond just oohs and ahs.
That, combined with the standalone thing, sounds like it could really speed up workflow for certain kinds of vocal parts.
I think so, yeah. Now let's talk about shaping the actual sound of the choir. Microphone options.
Yeah, the sources mention different mic positions.
Right. They recorded using 4 setups. You've got close condenser mics, probably bright and detailed, then closed ribbon mics.
Ah, warmer, maybe smoother.
Usually, yeah. Then there's a mid position, kind of a balance.
Yep.
And finally, far or ambient mics to capture the room sound. They recorded in a mid-sized hall, apparently.
And you can mix between these.
Yep. 4 faders on the interface,
Yeah.
1 for either mic position. So you can dial in exactly how close or distant you want the choir to sound. Really intimate with the close mics, or push it back in the mix with the ambient ones. Lots of control over the perceived space.
That's pretty powerful for fitting it into a mix. What about built-in effects? Does it have any?
It does. There are 2 effect sends built right in. You get the standards:
Yeah.
reverb, delay, chorus, phaser.
Okay, useful stuff.
And it also includes a convolution reverb, which is nice. Comes with different impulse responses, different simulated spaces you can put the choir in.
So you can add some basic polish or space right inside the plugin.
Exactly. There's an onboard reverb knob, too, just for quick spatial depth adjustments. But if you have your own favorite reverb plugins.
You can still use those.
Yeah, they mentioned it integrates seamlessly with external effects chains. So you get the convenience of built-in stuff, but you're not locked into it.
Good balance. Okay, practically speaking, using the thing. Interface, controls.
She's pretty straightforward. The YouTube video showed the main panel having most of the important controls right there. Easy access.
Makes sense.
And you can easily flip between controlling the soprano section and the alto section. They seem to function like 2 separate instruments within the one plugin, which is smart for arranging.
Right, so you can treat them independently. How do you control dynamics when you're playing? Mod wheel.
Yet mod wheel is one option for those smooth volume changes. Or you can use key velocity, how hard you hit the key to affect the attack or intensity, or even combine both.
Flexible. And basic stuff like pan and volume.
Right there on the front panel.
Yeah.
Global pan, pitch, volume. Easy peasy.
Anything else for adding realism? Sometimes virtual instruments sound too perfect.
Ah, yes. They included a microtune knob.
What's that do? Adds a bit of wobble.
Kind of, yeah. It introduces tiny, subtle pitch variations across the voices. Mimics that natural imperfection you get with a real group of singers. Helps it sound less, robotic or sterile.
Yeah.
More human.
That's a great feature, often overlooked.
Totally. And for the tweakers, you can apparently right-click on controls to reassign MIDI CCs, so you can customize your controller setup.
Nice. What about presets? Any starting points?
Yep, comes with factory presets. They're split into alto and soprano categories, so you can quickly load up different sounds or articulations.
Good for auditioning. And you can save your own patches with the syllable sequences and mic mixes and everything.
Absolutely. Standard preset saving is there. You can build up your own library of custom choir sounds.
Cool. Okay, wrapping up the tech details. Sound quality specs.
It's all recorded at 24-bit, 48 kilohertz, high resolution.
Standard pro quality. And the library size. Is it huge?
Surprisingly manageable, actually. It's 1 GB, using lossless compression, so it delivers the quality without eating up your entire hard drive.
1 GB is pretty lean for a detailed choir library.
It is. And just to reiterate, AU and VST3 formats, Mac and Windows, but crucially, no AAX for this standalone version.
Got it. So let's pull this all together. What we're looking at with Aurora Choir VST, especially the standalone version, is, well, seemingly very realistic female choir sounds.
Yeah, sopranos and altos,
Yeah.
with some really quite deep features, like that
Mhm.
true legato across different vowels and dynamics.
It's a syllable sequencer for building phrases.
Those mixable mic positions for controlling the space.
Built-in effects, the micro-tuning for realism, all wrapped up in something that seems pretty user-friendly.
And the big headline, again, is that it runs by itself. No contact needed for this specific version. That's a major plus.
Definitely simplifies the setup, and with that deal on audio plug-in deals, bringing it down to $89.
It makes it a really attractive option if you need these kinds of sounds and want to avoid the whole contact ecosystem, or just want a dedicated, streamlined tool.
Absolutely. I'd say if this sounds interesting, definitely go to the audio plug-in deals page, check out the Aria Sounds website too, listen to the demos.
Oh yeah, hearing it is key. The audio examples really show off what it can do, the expressiveness they've captured.
For sure. So maybe a final thought to leave people with. Just consider how having a tool like this, something relatively affordable and easy to use that delivers these realistic, vocal textures. How could that open up new doors in your own music?
Right. Without the old barriers of complex sampling or high costs, what kind of stories could you tell now? What kind of emotional layers could you add with these virtual voices readily available?
Something to think about. Definitely an exciting tool. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.